Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Mandela, and thank you so much for tuning in. First of all, happy Women's Day to all the women out there and everyone else who affiliates as a woman or who genders themselves as a woman, lady. Her happy Women's Day. So today I am going to be doing a couple book reviews by Black female authors. My favorite top 4 books by female authors, and Black being the operative word here. Cool, so let's get started. So the first book on my list is The Girl Who Smiled Beads by Clementine Wamariya, and this is such a wonderful book. I read this book last when I participated in the challenge called 54 Books, 54 Countries challenge, where basically you had to read 54 books in a year from all the 54 countries in Africa. And that experience was so wonderful for me and so challenging and so beautiful. And obviously I did not read all 54 books. I did pretty well though. I think I did that 30 or 32 books, and whew, ciao girl. Yep, so the book, I loved the book so much. It was one of the first books I read, and it was a wonderful experience, a very emotional, provoking book. So you are going to get into your feels, you're going to feel a bit of emotion, you're going to cry if you're a person who's sensitive, and if you are an empath. I mean, the conditions that these children went through, during the 1994 genocide that happened in Rwanda between the Hutus and the Tutsis. So that's where it's a memoir basically. But that's where the story of the book actually starts. It's a very nice book. It's very African, it's relative. So she does mention a part of something that you relate to, because if you grew up in rural areas, especially if you grew up in townships, you should kind of describe some parts as something that is very relative. You can think of it because now we're ukulima kaya, right? Yeah. So the story starts when she is at the front yard of her parents' house, and then it ends up all the way to different countries in Africa trying to find a safe and secure refugee camp. And in the book we also find the gruesome conditions they went through trying to find that safe space between her and her sister. And also we get introduced to this new character, her sister, who also goes through so much trying to find love, trying to find stability, trying to be a big sister, trying to just be there for everyone. She also finds someone who marries her and later on becomes abusive, and then it's just a journey of emotions. So it's like 1 minute you're happy that they are finally making a breakthrough, but then it's 10 steps backwards, because abuse is no small thing. And then all the way to LA, and this is the favorite part for me, because this is where she meets a family that adopts her, Clementine, and they take her to school, and she enters a writing competition. And this writing competition is going to be selected for one of Oprah's shows, and they brought her to the show, and she won the competition, and they brought her to the show, and that's where she met her parents after 12 years. She had not seen her parents for 12 years, so Oprah had organized that meeting to happen, and it was the most emotional, the most heartwarming, very soft, and very just one of those stories that you just have to read. And that's why I recommend this book for you guys to read this month. Cool. My second book is In the Meantime by Iyanla Vanzant. My favorite book of all time. This book, you read it when you are single, you read it when you're going through a breakup, you read it before you're entering a relationship, you read it while you are in a relationship, you also read it when you are just going through some celibacy journey, self-love journey. This is a book you have to read. Like, if you're a person who's really passionate about healing and trying to get to know yourself, what parts of yourself need healing, this is a book you've got to read, darling. It's just kind of centers in the meantime, like how its name is, like, what do you do in the waiting period, in the meantime, when you want to find love? How are you waiting? So this book talks about that a lot. So It's metaphorically, like in a house where there's a basement, there's a level 1, level 2, and level 3, and these are all stages of healing, where she groups the different types of feels that you might feel when you are in a relationship, or when you are single, or just before you get into any entanglement, darling. Cool. So in the basement, it's basically where you just don't know that you need healing. You don't know, you just mixed up, your feelings are just all over the place, and you are yet to find yourself. You are still getting that enlightenment to which you need healing. So that's the basement, basically. You in getting enlightenment that you need healing. The first floor, you are certain that you need healing. It's where you acknowledge that you need healing, but you're just not sure what healing. You still have to acknowledge which part of you needs this healing. So in the second floor, you know what needs healing. So now you are trying to work towards it. You are surrendering to that work that you have to put into yourself, into healing. You know what, you are brokenhearted. You know what, you are impatient. You know what, you're this and that. You're intolerable. You know what's in J. You are girl. You know. I don't know why I keep mentioning girl, but you know what, you corner parts that you really need to work on. So that's the stage where you need to surrender to that. You need to surrender to what you need to work on your patience and your impatience. Sorry, you need to work on your impatience. So the third floor, that's where you get to a place where you understanding yourself. You understand what you're an impatient person. When it comes to relationships, you know what, you are this person, you understanding, and you are finding ground, and you are trying to get to a place where you say it's okay. You are patient with yourself. You help yourself. You are working towards something really great. And oh my God! And it's a place where we all are obviously are just aspiring to get to a place of understanding, to a place of giving yourself a chance over and over again. So, damn. I want to read a passage from chapter 9 of this book, just to give you a glimpse of why I say this book is my favorite, because everyone is so hard on themselves when it comes to love. So I feel like this book is just one of those pat in the back, so to relax. So, okay, this is chapter 9. It says, you are going to be a fool, period. The thing you've got to decide is how many times you're going to be a fool. 2 times? 6 times? 10 times? Give yourself a limit. But don't say you're not going to be a fool, because you are going to be one, at least once. People who avoid relationships in fear of being a fool need to get over it. Give yourself a prescribed number of times and just go for it. I know your mother told you don't be no fool. Actually, she was telling you to choose the kind of fool that you want to be. Be that kind of fool and get over it. I don't know how many people I've talked to whose big things is, I don't want to be a fool. I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to look weak. I don't want to look stupid. I know. That's going to happen no matter what. So make some choices. Once you realize that you've been a fool for the prescribed number of times, that's when you've got to start getting yourself together. When you hit your limit, one of 2 things will happen. Either you'll stop being a fool, or you will give yourself more chances. I was like, what? Okay. That was my favorite part about this book. So do check this book out. Like, do check it out, dudes. Ooh, moving on to my third book, 491 Days, Winnie Mandela. Ooh. I feel like I need to take a breath in when I say this book. It's so emotional. Emotional in the sense of what she went through so much. She gave so much of her entire life with the struggle of liberating South Africa, being a part of the liberation movement. Mama Winnie Mandela was just so great. Like, she, number one, the conditions of the jail cell that she was in were like, they were revolting, they were disgusting. She refused any privileges that were given to her specifically because she did not want to get any preferential treatment. So she'd say whatever privilege that was given to her, she would not take it unless all the other ladies that she was jailed with got it. So I've never seen anyone so selfless personally, and this is a subjective, of course, outlook. So in the book, we just kind of go through the time when she was jailed from 12 May 1969 to September 1970. Yes, so she was jailed for 491 days. She explains how she was locked in solitary confinement, and that jail cell was called death cell. Like, you could, like, now imagine the gruesome torment that she was going through in that jail cell. So she said that you could not even distinguish between whether it's night or day. So when you got into that cell, the first thing you had to do is to write a calendar on the wall so that you were able to keep up with the world, with what day is it and what time is it. She got so utterly sick during that confinement period, and she defaulted on her pills. Her heart was so weak, and when I read through the book, when I read through her conditions, I'm basically asking myself, how are you still alive, woman? How are you still alive? Because the conditions that she went through were so horrible. And we also get a very beautiful feel, the love story between her and Nelson Mandela, when they wrote each other letters, and you kind of just see Buddha, man. Buddha. So it was just kind of so romantic, so nice. Theirs was really truly a controversial love story, and you also kind of getting a glimpse of Mandela's life. He's also struggles with jail and not having any accessibility to his family and his children. The book though is like so good. I would definitely recommend it for you guys to read it, especially if you're an activist and you are just one of those people who easily get inspiration from other activists. So other woman activists, woman being the operative word. Okay. Moving on, and my last book that I'll be reviewing is Things I Know for Sure by Oprah Winfrey. So this book is basically like a letter that Oprah writes to herself, to her younger self, things she wishes she knew when she was younger, and it's kind of like a breathe in, breathe out book. It's very easy to read, so you easily finish it. Give it a day, you'll be done with that book. It's very inspirational, it's very influential, it's very calming, it's very an easy book. Like, you would really want to have that book. It's a beautiful book. So she talks about generosity, she talks about possibility, she talks about self-esteem, she talks about self-love, she talks about affirmations, she talks about destiny, and how everything intertwines together. She talks about giving back. She talks about smiling a lot. She talks about being positive a lot. So it's just one of those books that I feel good. A feel good book. So you have to read that book if you want to be inspired and you want to have that motivation to get back into doing things more. Actually, here's the interesting part. I just remembered something. This book, after I had read it, I immediately started my YouTube channel. Because I had been procrastinating for such a long time that when I had read something from her book, like it's an abstract of essays, so when I had finally got to this other chapter that was talking about self-esteem, I was like, what? let me get to my channel, because I've been procrastinating, and I always talk about how I want to blog. I want to start a blog. I wanted to start a YouTube channel. I wanted to start uh, uh, getting into public speaking a lot. I wanted to, like, maybe like in 2017, 2016, I always had talked about these dreams, and they always seemed so far, that when I actually got to reading this book, I was like, I'm taking an action. I'm joining the debating team. I am starting my YouTube channel. I am going to work on that blog. I'm going to be confident more in my writing, how I write, my writing style. I am going to be confident in the type of content that I release. I'm going to be confident in the things that I say. I'm going to be confident in the way that I look. I'm going to be confident in the way that I present myself and my surety. So I was like, how can I not involve this book when I'm talking about one of the top foremost influential and top foremost inspirational books by women authors, black women authors. So yo guys, I'm plugging y'all. These books are great. These books are awesome. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning into my channel, guys. I will see you on my next video. Thank you.